That's where I stay in my feelings.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are spilling some Texas tea. But before we get started, I wanted to just thank every single person that watched my last video. We are at 500, I think over 500 views. So thank you so much for showing me love and support. And I really love you guys. I also want to give a shout out to 3 people that commented on my last video. Thank you so much for not only watching my video, but taking the time to actually comment. I really, really appreciate it. And lastly, I want to apologize for how long it's been since we've last seen each other. You'll have to understand that I'm honestly fighting for my life during the week. My job's the worst, but that's a story for another day. If y'all want to hear more, let me know. I can definitely go on around about my job for sure. Today's video, we are spilling some Texas tea. So if you've been thinking about moving to Texas, you might want to tune in. All right, let's get started with the video. Now I have my handy dandy notebook here. I took notes because I did not want to miss a single detail when it comes to spilling this Texas tea, y'all. So let's get started. I think that I'm going to list a pro and then follow it up with a con. It may get a little bit messy because I'm honestly just ranting, but you know, bear with me. All right, let's get started. So number 1, a pro about Texas living is that the cost of living is pretty average in Texas. Now, I wouldn't say it's significantly different than Florida, but let's just state the facts. In Florida, I would not be able to live in a house. I wouldn't be able to afford to live in a house. So there you can already see a little bit of the difference. I also believe that Texas salaries may just be a little bit more than Florida salaries because I got a job offer in Florida and the salary that they were offering me, this was in Tampa by the way, they offered me $48,000. In comparison to Texas, they were offering me $55,000 off, the bat. So I think that the cost of living in Texas is just average. Like, it's not super duper expensive and it's not super duper cheap. Like, groceries are pretty average. Some stores are actually way more expensive in Texas. So I really do miss Publix. I will say that for sure. And gas is pretty average as well. So there's nothing like significantly cheaper. It's just more doable, As long as you manage your money well and you get a good job, I would definitely recommend moving out here for sure. So with that being said though, a con with living in Texas is there's lots of little expenses that you need to keep in mind when you live in Texas. Number 1, this is a big one, tolls. Tolls will add up. Now, when I was looking up videos about, people that moved to Texas, they were like, yeah, you're gonna definitely rack up a check in tolls. But I didn't believe them because I'm from Florida and tolls are like cents or dollar. Like the most I've ever had a toll be is like $2. Texas tolls are no joke. Just going to work, I can easily spend $40 every 2 weeks on tolls. And that's only because I go to work. If you're going to like other cities and everything, you're gonna run a check on tolls because listen, everywhere in Texas, almost everywhere in Texas, you have to jump on the highway to get to where you're going. Because Texas is so big that the cities are like far from each other. So a place can be 15 minutes away when in reality it's 20 miles away. And there you go. You're gonna run through tolls for sure. So that's something to keep in mind when you are thinking about moving to Texas. You're gonna run a check on tolls. Also, to follow up with that, you're gonna spend a lot of money on gas because you're going from city to city, you're going from downtown. Texas cities they're far from each other. Yes, it's 15 minutes, but it's gonna be like 15, 20 miles. So you are gonna run a bag on gas and tolls. You can easily spend 50 plus on tolls every 2 weeks. So that's something to keep in mind. Number 2, a pro about Texas is huge. So there's a lot of cities. So there's so much to do. I'm so sorry. There's so many restaurants you can go to. There's so many activities. There's scenic places you can, do outdoorsy stuff. There's all kinds of things. So if you actively put in an effort to, go out and explore the city, you will find things to do for sure. There's all kinds of restaurants. There's something for everyone in Texas for sure. Texas is definitely like a Florida 2.0. There's just no beaches. That's pretty much the only difference. So there's plenty of cities. There's plenty to do. I'm in Dallas and Houston is about like, I think 3 or 4 hours away. And that's a fun trip. Like people do that all the time. So there's plenty to do in Texas. A con to follow up is, like I said, Texas is freaking huge. So something that I used to do as a little side hustle is I used to do like deliveries and stuff through like Instacart and Shipt and like DoorDash. Because Texas is so huge, jobs like that are pointless because the profit that you're gonna make, you're gonna have to put towards gas. So you're not gonna make a profit. So basically, you just have to think of other ways to make money in Texas. And I'm sure there are other ways, but deliveries are just not something you can do. And like I mentioned, because Texas is so huge, you're gonna run a check on gas. So for sure, that's something to think about. Another con going with how big Texas is, I don't know if these are directly correlated, but you have to jump on the highway to go a lot of places in Texas. And on top of that, Texas drivers are the worst. Driving in Texas is, you're honestly risking your life every day that you're on the road. People on the highway will cut you off just for fun, it seems like. Just for fun. Texas drivers are insane. And then a follow-up with that is traffic is insane in Texas. So traffic on like hours where there's a lot of people on the road is insane. Because in the morning from the hours of like 6:30 to 7:30, traffic will be so bad that everyone is bumper to bumper. The highway lights up like a Christmas tree because everyone is stopped. Traffic in Texas is no joke, especially during peak hours, like morning times when everyone's going to work or when everyone's coming home from work. So like 4:30 to like 6 p.m. traffic is nuts, okay? So that's something to keep in mind for sure. And Texas was recently just rated one of the most dangerous places to drive, and it shows. It shows. All right, so another pro about Texas living is that you're going to meet a lot of people in Texas from all over the world. So to an extent, there is a lot of diversity here. It's different from what I'm used to from South Florida, but you're for sure gonna meet people from all over. Just alone at my job, I met someone from New Zealand, I met someone from Boston, Minnesota. People come from all over to live in Texas. So it just shows that like Texas has a lot of opportunities. A lot of companies are opening offices here, and there's definitely opportunities for growth and success here. So it shows because a lot of people are moving down here, and it makes sense. Or over here, whatever. So a con about Texas, this has nothing to do with the pro, but the heat. The heat is no joke. Now when people say that Texas is a dry heat, I never believe them, because what does that mean, dry heat? It's dry. It's hot. The first week that I moved here, there was a heat wave and the temperature was like over 100 degrees. And stepping outside, you were taking a risk. The heat literally sucked my energy out of my body. It was insane. The heat here is not something to be joked with. I remember I just installed a new wig, and moving my stuff from my U-Haul to my garage, my wig fell off. That's how hot Texas is. But I've only been here for 2 months, and it did recently start getting a little chillier, so I think fall is going to be better, or cooler temperatures, but I'll keep you updated on that. Texas weather so far, no joke. And I thought it wasn't going to be anything because I'm from Florida, and Florida's pretty hot, but no, Texas is definitely hotter. Now, this part is literally me just ranting because I don't have any points anymore, but one more thing about the Texas driving. These drivers, first of all, did I tell you about the highways? Oh, I forgot to tell you about the highways. The highways here are no joke, okay? They have highways, stacked on top of highways, stacked on top of highways. I bet you, if Texas could make highways in all terrains, in the ocean, on mountains, in the sky, they would. Because the amount of highways here are so crazy. And then the speed limit is 70 all the time. 70 for me is like turnpike. 70 here is all the time. People are always speeding. Let me tell you, the first time I was on the highway and I saw Jimmy to my left going 85, Johnny to my right going 90, I was like, there's no way I'm driving here. So please, if you are going to be moving to Texas, you gotta put some, I don't know what it is, but you gotta toughen up, because the drivers here will run you to filth. Is that a saying? I don't know, but you need to toughen up. People will cut you off just for fun. People will race you. I don't see cops. I rarely see cops here. That's another thing. So people be doing what they want because there's barely any cops here. They be hiding. I have not seen any. I mean, I see once in a while, but like not the way I'm used to seeing cops. It's crazy. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you want to live in like the popular cities, like if you want to live in like downtown or like, I don't know, like Plano, you're gonna have to spend more money on like your living arrangements because everyone's trying to move down here. So a lot of the prices are really like inflated for sure. And I also want to mention another con that I just thought of. There are a lot of things going on in Texas politically, and I don't know if you heard about the recent bills that have been passed. There are a lot of different things going on in Texas. And you know, that's something to keep in mind for sure. I saw a tweet online that was like, there's no way I'm moving to Texas because like your rights cost more or whatever. And I can understand why someone may think that because Texas is pretty wild. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to, you know, be too controversial, but yeah, Texas definitely be pushing it to the limits. But yeah, that's something to keep. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. And I hope to see you again on this channel or in Texas. If you've been thinking about moving to Texas, honestly, I would say go for it. There's lots of opportunities here. Lots of people are moving here, so you're bound to make friends, and it's gonna be a great experience. So far, I'm loving Texas, and it was a good decision for sure to leave Florida. So if you need that little push, here's your push. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all soon.